Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Speaking of conservatives knowing that Donald Trump is dead to rights, guilty of the crimes he's been accused, they know, or at least they have their deep suspicions that Donald Trump is guilty of crimes against children, because now instead of saying he didn't do it, they're saying, well, maybe it wasn't what it was. Maybe it's okay to have sex with a 15-year-old. And they're just, this is the thing about conservatism and the Republican Party that made me escape as a young man. It's the hypocrisy. It's the lies. It's the shifting your narrative constantly, moving the goalpost constantly. I have ideologies that are set in me. I have a North Star. I have things that guide me, principles and morality and ethics. And I can't change them just because the guy that I voted for ended up being a child rapist. That's not in me. I don't have that. If a politician steps out of line, I call them out for it. And if they don't correct the behavior, I write them off. Because I don't deify politicians. I guess I never have. Apparently, that's not the case with Megyn Kelly, who is changing her story remarkably on what exactly is and is not child rape, what exactly is and is not consent, who is a victim and who is not. I saw this headline from Media Matters, and it seemed almost unbelievable until I looked into it. It is Megyn Kelly questions whether Jeffrey Epstein's desire for, quote, very young teen types made him a pedophile. And this, of course, is an extension of what you will be seeing in the coming weeks and months when they start defending Donald Trump for this type of behavior. Saying, oh, it wasn't pedophilia, it was something else. He just likes them young. All of it's gross. All of it is disgusting, reprehensible. This is the same crowd that has demonized drag queen story hour and gay people and trans people. We're not safe in bathrooms and they're grooming the kids. And then when an actual groomer, convicted groomer and rapist of children, who is an associate of Donald Trump, a best friend type of Donald Trump, when that is found out, then it's like, oh, well, that's not grooming. That's something different. And they're liars and hypocrites. And the reason I know they're liars and hypocrites, because I have two clips for you of Megyn Kelly. One from January of 2018 when she was still a respectable journalist. This is when she left Fox News and went to NBC and hosted her little Today Show offshoot program. And she had Nicole Eggert on, who accused Scott Baio, another Republican stalwart conservative who was accused of sex crimes. And Megyn Kelly, in this clip I'm getting ready to play, it's maybe not even 30 seconds. She's talking with accuracy about her feelings and about the law, about consent, about a child. Who is a child? And they can't consent. They legally cannot because they're of whatever age. Watch this. Remember, January 2018, Megyn Kelly on NBC.
The age of consent, just so you know, is 18 in California, and was back then as well. So there's no consenting for a 14 or even a 17-year-old in these circumstances. So talk about that you feel as a victim, you feel a victim. To people who are going to be out there, because some are going to judge and say, you were 15, you were 16, you were 17, you were a willing participant. Again, the legal age of consent in California is 18.
And it's not a one-off. All of that is accurate. All of that is true. All of that is reality. But that's not a one-off. That's not just that's just the one time. Maybe that was just because NBC made her say it on her own program in 2023. Well, this is with her backdrop, but it's not her program. It's a Great Britain news. It's a UK news show. And they're talking about Russell Brand, the guy I just talked about, who's now flipped and he's found Jesus. He's now, after having been credibly accused and having legal ramifications come his way, now he's a religious man. Now he's found the Lord. Here she is coming out against Russell Brand, talking about that the crimes and how it's disgusting and speaking reasonably about it. She acts like an idiot in the clip. You'll see when she's like threatening to unsubscribe to him because he's it just, these people. Anyway, watch this, and then we'll move on to her making excuses, her formulating her argument for when she ultimately defends Donald Trump's crimes.
I don't really care if it turns out that the rape charge or the sexual assault charges fall apart. You're 31 years old and you have sex allegedly over a 3-month period with a 16-year-old. We're done. I'm unsubscribing. All right. And I am sick of conservatives online trying to defend that as though she had a role in it. She was a minor. Just because you can't be prosecuted for it doesn't mean it's right. The conservative men I know are lovely. They're ethical. They're honorable. It's not to say they've never fallen down in their lives, but in no world would they be taking advantage of a 16-year-old minor. I have a daughter who's 4 years away from that. You come anywhere near her as a 31-year-old man, and we are going to have a serious problem. And it's not going to be over whether you get demonetized on YouTube. Yes. I really hope my friends on the conservative side of the aisle would remember, just because we're all over Me Too and it was an overreaction and it went too far and it got politicized, doesn't mean that we have to knee-jerk defend every scumbag who gets accused of bad behavior.
I'm done. I'm unsubscribing. That's too much for me. I just, no more. That logic doesn't follow now, though, apparently. If you're 31 having sex with a teenage girl, that was too much in 2023, but apparently something magical happened in between 2023 and where we sit today. In 2024, Donald Trump's president now. The dear leader is now being accused of the crimes she once felt reprehensible. Here she is. This is what led me down this rabbit hole. The Media Matters headline. Here she is explaining away crimes against children and making weird comparisons between 15-year-old girls and 5-year-old girls.
As for Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby. And that is what I believed, and that was what I reliably was told for many years. And it wasn't until we heard from Pam Bondi that they had tens of thousands of videos of alleged, forgive me, they used to call it kiddie porn, now they call it child sexual abuse material, on his computer, that for the first time I thought, oh, no, he was an actual pedophile. I mean, only a pedophile gets off on young children abuse videos. She's never clarified it. I don't know whether it's true. I have to be honest. I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word on the Epstein matters anymore. Yeah, so I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10. I was under 14 when I first came within his purview. Look, you can say that's a distinction without a difference.
No, it's not.
I think there is a difference. Yeah. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Yes, Megyn Kelly. Yes, there is a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. The 15-year-old is a child, and the 5-year-old is a younger child. They're both children. Neither can consent. Any sexual activity with either is a crime, immoral, damaging, trauma-inducing. So when you were once outraged that a 31-year-old would feign to have sex with a 16 or 17-year-old, now 15-year-old, it's okay. with a greasy, sweaty 60-year-old elderly Donald Trump or Jeffrey Epstein. This is what I don't understand. Megyn Kelly is a victim of these types of acts herself. I don't know how far it went. Certainly sexual harassment. Megyn Kelly has kids this age. So Megyn, would it be okay if a 50-year-old Jeffrey Epstein or a 60-year-old Jeffrey Epstein, a 70-year-old Donald Trump, if he propositioned your children? Would that be okay? Because, 15 is not 5. And where's the goalpost moving going to stop? Well, look, there's a difference between a 5-year-old and an 18-month-old. It seems to be the trajectory with these ghouls. There is no low too low. There is no crime too abhorrent for them not to defend if Donald Trump is involved. Donald Trump just acted disgracefully toward Megyn Kelly. Remember? She's bleeding out of her eyes, whatever nonsense he said, insinuating that she was on her period when she asked the questions during the debate, during the 2016 campaign, when he was maligning Rosie O'Donnell. Just misogynistic. It is the least of Donald Trump's crimes. He has no respect for women. He has no respect for young women. He has no respect for children. They are all objects of his desire and usefulness. And the same with his pals, the Jeffrey Epstein friend group. Conservatives are rudderless. They are moralless. They are disgusting. They will be the destruction of our republic because of the fact that they don't have any deeply held moral convictions, no ethos, no ideology to guide them. Sickening. What are your thoughts? I'd love to know. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me as always, daily@dollemore.com. I'd love to hear from you, and I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine and take care of one another.